Bianca, are you still living on Allenview?
Yes.
Okay. What were you doing over in New Cumberland right over there?
Dropping my son off.
Okay. What'd you hand off to the gentleman that walked back in the house?
His coffee cup.
His coffee cup?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm tired of him leaving his mess in my car.
Okay. All right. Do you have anything illegal in the car?
You want to search it?
I mean, if you want to let me search it.
Like, what do y'all think we did a transaction or something?
Well, that's what it looked like.
Because we're black?
No. I couldn't see in your car. Your window tints too dark.
Okay,
anyway.
so exactly. So, but it looked like we were doing a drug transaction.
Yeah, so you pulled up, he came out, you handed something to him, he walked back in the house.
You missed it.
We're not going to argue about it.
I came from this way, went around, took him home,
I saw where
dropped
you came
him
from.
off.
I saw where you came from.
And I dropped him off to his house.
Okay.
He left his cup here because I'm tired of his shit being in my car. I beeped the horn, gave him his cup.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Okay. Do you have anything illegal in the car?
No.
Okay. You don't have any crack?
I don't.
Weed?
Sir, I'm a fucking business owner, okay?
There are moments so routine, so unremarkable, that you wouldn't think to remember them. You drop your kid off, you say goodbye, you drive away. That's it. That's the whole story. For Bianca, a 55-year-old black business owner from Pennsylvania, that's exactly what that March morning was supposed to be. She had driven her son Anthony home. He climbed out of the car and walked back inside his house. Simple. Done. Except he left his coffee cup in her car. She beeped the horn, he came back out, she handed it to him, he went back inside. Bianca pulled away, probably thinking about her day, her business, whatever comes next when you've just done the most ordinary thing a mother can do. She didn't know that 2 officers had been watching. She didn't know that what they saw, a black woman, a black man, something passed between them, had already been interpreted, already been filed away under a category that had nothing to do with coffee. She didn't know that in seconds those lights would come on behind her. That's how fast it happens. Not with a dramatic confrontation, not with raised voices or running. It starts with something handed through a car window on a quiet street in New Cumberland. It starts with a coffee cup. And it ends, or rather it begins, with a police stop that would be filmed, shared, and seen by hundreds of thousands of people across the country. Because what happened next wasn't just a misunderstanding. It was a window into something far more familiar, far more exhausting, and far more dangerous than a coffee cup could ever be. A window into what it means to move through the world in a black body, where the most mundane gesture can be read as criminal, where returning a cup becomes reasonable suspicion, where a mother and her son become a transaction. This is that story. The officer's opening question sounded almost casual. What did you hand off to the gentleman that walked back in the house? Bianca answered without hesitation, his coffee cup. She was tired of him leaving his things in her car. She beeped the horn, gave it back, end of story. But the officer wasn't done. Do you have anything illegal in the car? Bianca kept her composure, just barely. She pushed back, asked the question that needed asking. Like, what do y'all think we did? A transaction or something? The officer's response should have ended the conversation right there. Well, that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Not that a law had been broken, not that any contraband had been seen, not that any credible tip had been received, just that's what it looked like, to him, standing outside her window, looking in. Bianca named it plainly, because we're black. The officer denied it, claimed he couldn't see inside the car, said it had gone too dark. But Bianca wasn't having it, and she was right not to be. She laid out exactly what happened, step by step, calmly and precisely, because she'd done nothing wrong and she knew it. But calm and correct aren't always enough, because what came next, after she'd explained everything, after she'd handed him the full context, after there was no reasonable question left to ask, the officer looked at her and asked, "You don't have any crack?" Crack. Not a general question about contraband, not a follow-up about the stop. Crack. Specific. Loaded. Pointed directly at a black woman who had just told him she was a business owner, who had just explained, clearly, exactly what happened on that street corner. You could hear it in her voice, the shift, from composure to disbelief, from controlled frustration to something raw. I'm a business owner. 4 words, said the way you say something when you're fighting the urge to scream. And the stop wasn't over yet. It's one thing to make a mistake. Officers misread situations. That happens. What's harder to explain is what comes after the mistake has been corrected. Bianca had told him everything, clearly, twice. The coffee cup, her son, the beep of the horn. There was nothing ambiguous left. Any reasonable person, any officer acting in good faith would have apologized and let her go. Instead, the officer asked to search her car, and when Bianca said no, as was absolutely her right, the questioning didn't stop. It escalated. Then came the moment that crystallized everything. The officer gestured toward Anthony, her son, a grown man, and referred to him as the big, older African American. He corrected himself, but the damage was done. Because what that phrase revealed wasn't just poor word choice. It revealed the lens through which this entire stop had been conducted. Anthony wasn't a man returning to his own home. He wasn't someone's son. He was a large black body, unfamiliar, suspect by default. Bianca is 55 years old. She'll be 56 in February. Her son is a grown adult, and the officer, after stopping her car, asking about crack, requesting to search her vehicle and being refused, looked at her grown child and essentially said, "He looks too big to be yours." That's when Bianca raised her voice. Not out of irrationality, not out of aggression, out of the accumulated weight of every word that had been said since those lights came on. Out of the specific exhaustion that comes from being seen as a category instead of a person. You could have been Mexican, you could have been white. You could have been green, you could have been yellow, and I'm black, and it looked like I was making a drug transaction. She wasn't wrong, and she wasn't finished. The officer, in what might be the most tone-deaf moment of the entire encounter, responded to being grouped with bad officers by complaining that he was being generalized. The same man who had just asked a black business owner if she had crack in her car. The same man who described her son as the big older African American. He felt grouped. Bianca didn't let it end on that street. In her own words, posted after the video went viral, "I refused to sit down and let this happen to me and there be no repercussions." She did not allow the search. She did not give her son's last name when the camera stopped rolling. She continued to push back, loudly, clearly, without apology. She reached out to Fairview Township. She documented everything. She named the officers: Agent Edwards, badge 599, Officer L. Alexander, badge 5218, and she promised to take it as far as it needed to go. Here's what the law actually says, because Bianca was right on every count. An officer needs reasonable suspicion of criminal activity to conduct a lawful investigative stop. Not a feeling, not a visual read across a dark street. A coffee cup being handed between a mother and her son does not meet that threshold. Not legally, not logically. You are not required to answer questions. You are not required to consent to a search. The only questions you must answer are, am I being detained? Am I under arrest? Am I free to go? Those questions invoke your constitutional rights, rights that exist regardless of guilt or innocence, because in this country you are innocent until proven otherwise. Bianca knew that. She exercised it. But here's the deeper truth this story forces us to sit with. Bianca shouldn't have needed to know that. She shouldn't have needed to be a legal expert to return a coffee cup to her son. She shouldn't have had to defend her humanity on a quiet street in Pennsylvania over something as innocent as a mother cleaning out her car. The while black framework, walking while black, sitting while black, existing while black, isn't hyperbole. It's documentation. It's the accumulation of thousands of moments exactly like this one, where blackness itself becomes the suspicious element in an otherwise unremarkable scene. A coffee cup. That's all it was. And yet here we are, hundreds of thousands of views later, still watching, still talking, still waiting for a world where returning a cup to your son is just that. Nothing more, nothing less. Updates will follow as the case develops. And if this story made you feel something, if it made you think, made you angry, made you want to share it with someone who needed to hear it, then you already know why this kind of storytelling matters. We cover the stories that don't get enough attention, the ones hiding in plain sight, the ones that happen on ordinary mornings to ordinary people doing ordinary things. If you want to be here when the next one drops, hit that like button and subscribe. It costs you nothing, but for the people whose stories we tell, it means everything. We'll see you on the next one.